Got a couple of cool projects to do on this boat. I got it last October-ish, and I live in Cleveland, Ohio, so you can't really use it during the winter time. But it's April now, and I'm getting ready, and we'll be kind of boating season coming up pretty soon in the next couple months. So I have a couple more projects to do on it. As you guys saw, I started working on the paint job and stuff, the gel coat last year before we put it in storage. And now I'm turning my attention to the interior and a few other projects. I got some new rims and stuff that are pretty cool. But I went and I got a quote for new upholstery. So that's what this episode or whatever is going to be about. This clip is going to be about redoing some of the pads on the interior. And it's an open bow. So let's take a look. I'll show you what I mean. This is the open bow portion. And I already removed from some of these pads from the back, which is just a ton of fun. They come with these like washers and screws and stuff that go in the back. I'll show you that. But I'm also replacing the speakers, which go in here and then on the other side as well. But as you can see, there's some of this I don't know, kind of fading or something. I mean, that's not torn right there, but there is a little gouge right here, and I'm going to repair that. And so it's not really in that bad a condition, I don't think. I mean, it's got some of this kind of like discoloration type of stuff going on there, you know. Now there's my new speaker in the back, and then over there the same thing. And then like on that seat, it's got a couple little tears right over in there. So what I'm thinking is I got a quote just to replace the vinyl on 4 pads. So these teeny tiny like little pads right here. So just to replace the vinyl on this thing, and then those 2 small pads there, and then this front area right in the front of the center area here. It was like $2,000 this person wanted. And it would have been only 4 pads and not like the bigger part either. So not like that part or this part over here, which doesn't have any rips at all, just like that discoloration. So what I'm going to do is I am going to try and repair this stuff myself with the vinyl repair kit that you get from 3M. And I'll leave a link in the video below for that. But on top of that, I also got a vinyl clean and like spray paint kit. So it's specially made for vinyl for boats. And it's a little bit more expensive. There's a few out there. I'll leave a link in the description for the one that I got. It's a 3-part thing. You clean it and then you spray it with kind of like a pre-treater, which in my opinion is kind of like a tenderizer. It makes the vinyl, your existing vinyl, kind of softer, so you can it'll be more absorbent or have more of a tacky and adhesive quality when you actually put the paint on there. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this stuff removed, and then we're gonna start repairing the little cracks, and then we're gonna go through that whole process. All right, so we're down in my basement, and I'm gonna start using this 3M leather and vinyl repair kit. And this comes with an assortment of colors. Here's the ones that I'm gonna be using today, which are basically black and white, because this is gray or very light gray. And then it also has these little vinyl adhesives. That's kind of like the glue. I don't know if I'm gonna have enough of that, so that's why I might have to order another kit. And then it gives you a little mixing cup here, and it gives you a little plastic applicator. And then what's kind of neat is it has this little iron. You actually press that against something hot, like a actual iron, to do your clothes with, and then you like rub it over the repair to give it to make it cure, and then also to give it a little pattern. And the kit actually comes with several different pieces of cloth in here, essentially. So the top one is just a practice piece. So that's, you don't need that unless you want to practice. And then the second one is the backing, and that's basically just canvas. So you cut off a little teeny tiny piece and you stick it underneath the crack on either side and you kind of glue it in there, okay? That's the idea. Some bigger rather than smaller. And this is, I mean, as you can see from the palm of my hand, I don't know, 2 inches by 2 inches or 2.5 by 2.5, something like that. And then what you have is you have 3 other pieces in here. And I'll try to show it on there. Okay, you can see it now, I think. See, it has a texture to it. So that's texture number 1, and then texture number 2, and then sorry, I'm doing this with both hands here. Texture number 3, which is almost nothing. And the idea is that you separate these, and then you put that down on there, and then you heat up that iron, and you kind of like rub it on the okay, so I trimmed that out a little bit, and let's see if that kind of fits inside there like it's supposed to do. Oh, that's kind of cool. Yeah, it does go in there. Have a little patience maybe, and I think it will fit. Maybe it's a little bit too fat, so I'm going to trim it up just a little bit. Throw that away, and that should be pretty good. So let's go ahead and we get this little vinyl adhesive out. Does it unscrew? How does this come off here? Is it pop top? Okay, it's pop top. So there's the adhesive. I don't know what this is. If you guys know if this stuff is just like regular adhesive that you can get like at Joann Fabrics or something, let me know, because I just want to get a few more of these. I don't want the whole kit. All right, so I'm gonna fill that in there. I don't think it really matters if you get it on the top too much. A little bit, you could probably clean that off. This feels kind of like a thick Elmer's glue. So I'm gonna get that in there underneath. The idea is that you want to get that backing pad up underneath there and be secured. A little stringy, so maybe that will get put down when the adhesive gets in there and cures. I don't know. Okay, so now we're going to take this adhesive and kind of slather it in there. This one's kind of a deeper crack, so I don't know if I'm gonna have to come back and kind of sand it down or what. But I don't know, how does that stay in there like that? Keep those edges down. Maybe come back and sand those down or something, because you see how that edge is kind of clipping up a little bit right there. So I don't know if I like that. So I'm gonna try on this one over here just to fill it without a backer, because I don't really like how that backer's in there. And this is the side of the cushion anyway. And let's see. Yeah, I'll do that off camera. Okay, I did go ahead and put a little bit in there, a little backer. I really don't know if that's necessary right there. And if you do, sorry about jumping around here, I'm trying to do everything myself. If you do decide to put the backer on, the support fabric or whatever they're calling it, I would suggest making sure that there's a really good void back in there that matches the exact color, or the exact size rather, sorry, of the hole you're trying to create and fill with the patch, if that makes sense. So when you tuck it back in there, it'll be nice and smooth. So there you go. So there's a couple of those. Now let's just kind of, this is going to be anticlimactic, but let's go ahead and just fill one here that has no backer on it. So that has no backer at all. And this stuff should dry clear. But you see how that's popping up already right there? I think that's going to be a problem. Unless I hold it down or something. See how that's popping up, that little edge? I don't know. So anyway, we'll fix this, but I started on this side over here on purpose because it's not visible unless you take it off, which is never really. So just to clean it or dry it out or something, I suppose. But yeah. So there we go. I'll clean this off so there's no extra goop on the sides. And we'll move on to the other ones. Alright, this one's going to be kind of interesting. I got the first piece kind of drying. It needs to dry for about 4 hours. And it's on the edge. So I'm just going to do that one edge because I don't want the glue running down. So, and I have plenty of time. I'm doing this in my basement under ideal conditions, inside the house, temperature controlled, that kind of thing. So I have the other piece propped up so the glue, adhesive, whatever they call it, won't run. And I'm going to move on to another piece and kind of do it that way. So I'm going to do them several holes at a time because they're on different parts. You know, one part's on a flat part and the other part's on the top. So if I do them both at the same time, one will run and one will be flat. And I like it to be nice and flat when it dries. So this one here, I'm going to have to stuff that. I mean, you can see, I mean, it goes down, you know, a ½ inch into there. So I'm going to get a little bit of foam and put that in there. Okay, so we're back on that front cushion piece, and I got a little bit of foam, which is kind of nice, and I'm just going to kind of dip that in glue just a little bit and kind of stuff it down in there. think that'll be fine. You know, just a little bit of support down in there. And then I went ahead and I pre-cut some of the backing, some of the support fabric, or whatever you call that stuff. You want to try to get that in there behind the other area to give it some support, right? So I got my little piece. I'm just going to put it in there, and I'm not going to make it too big. So hopefully that'll go right in there. And I'm trying to get better at it. I'm sure that if you guys... There we go. Look at that. Holy mackerel. Second time is a charm. I don't like those little, like, extra pieces of string that come off the side of that. You see that? You know, that's going to look ugly. So thank God I'm going to be painting the whole thing to make it blend in. But that's a nice backing there. And then we get the adhesive again, and this is going to get quite a bit of adhesive because it's kind of deep. So I'm definitely going to need some more. I'm kind of mushing it in there because I want to get all over inside of there. You know? And I'll clean that up in a second, but I want all that to be... I want that little flap right there to be secured. So it looks ugly right this second, but that's on purpose. Now, the instructions say that this stuff will dry and shrink. So that's to be expected. And if it does dry and shrink, that's okay. We can just add a little bit more. So I want that little flap right there to stay down, is what I want. So I'm just going to put this off to the side. Even though I have another repair to do on the bottom, right there, I'm going to put this off to the side so it can dry like that. Because I like things to dry from the top. Paint, anything, I like it to dry from the top so gravity can kind of, you know, work its magic. So let's do that. It's already looking better. So I got that little piece drying, and then I just did the other piece right there, and that's what I meant, that I have it like kind of drying on the top like that, you know, as opposed to having it on the sides. So I don't know about that. I might have to clip some of those off. I do have a fine clipper that I could use. All right, let's do an easy one. So I got this over here, these pieces here and here and here. That piece is kind of tore off, you know, but they're connected pretty good. So I don't know if I want to. I think I might just try to fill that. Let's do an experiment. Let's just try to fill that and see how that works. So, and I did clean these already. And I did dry them. I actually dried it with the heat gun, just to make make sure. Over there, what the hell? Again, this is all going to be painted. Should I go ahead and do this with just the glue, or should I put in the stuff, the backing? I'll do the backing. Let me do the backing. I'm going to do that off camera. Okay, so I did do the backing on this one here. It was kind of wide, but this one here I did not do the backing on there, and the reason being is that it was already kind of attached enough, I thought, in the back. And I also want to do a little bit of an experiment, because the nice thing about being able to do this yourself is that you could just do it again, and this is a relatively easy piece to do if I had to do it again later, and I already have all the stuff. So I got this piece, that piece, and that piece done this time, and I got those two other little repairs done there, and this is how much I have left out of the glue. So this glue goes pretty quick. So I would really like to know what kind of glue this is. Maybe I can just buy some in a squirt bottle or something. So I do have another repair here, but I'm not going to do that yet because I want this to sit flat and dry. I might do this little repair here while we wait, and then move on to the next cushion. Because these have to dry for at least 4 hours before you go to the next step. Alright, so on this corner here, I just wanted to kind of... I ran into a little issue, and these little lips were kind of like curled up a little bit. And, you know, I just felt like if I put the glue on there, it would still poke through the glue and it wouldn't be like a nice smooth surface there. So I just kind of like, you know, used my utility knife and kind of shaved them down a little bit. I didn't really think I'd be removing any material on a repair, but it's kind of like cupping and like fraying up on there, and I don't like that. So I did remove that area there just a little bit, and with the knife. And they don't tell you to do that in the instructions, but I don't know. I think that was the best call on that. Okay, so this is going to be, I think, the biggest one so far. And I mean, as you can see, that piece right there is already coming off there. So I think I'm going to go ahead and remove it. Because it's just frayed. I mean, that's kind of big enough, but see how it's like poking out there? I don't know. There. I think it's like a nice cleaner cut there. I hope that makes sense, because it was popping up. I don't know if you can see that. It's popping up. I don't like that. So this is going to be the biggest one yet. And the reason that I'm kind of doing that on this side is that it's down next to it and it's barely visible. So I think that will glue down. Alright, so let me get the patch on here and we'll put some glue in there. Alright, so I got my patch cut out here, and I'm going to try to get it in there as best as I can. I'm getting down to the bottom of the first glue. Trying to get that glue down in the cavity that I made. like a little balancing act here, a little dance. It goes up on the one side and then down on the other, you know. So you gotta tuck it up there real good. There we go. That's actually surprisingly not bad. And then that piece, I just want to make sure that gets in there nice and flat. Good. Good. I think that's okay. And then there's always a couple of these little stringers. I don't like these. 3M, if you're listening, stop making this backing stuff with the stringers on there. Look at that, there's another one. I don't want that in there. I think they'd come up with something a little bit better. Carbon fiber or something. I suppose it has to be flexible. So I'm going to get every last drop of glue out of there because that stuff is precious. Okay, we're on the second tub of adhesive. It's pretty thick. It's not, I mean, it's thicker than kind of like Elmer's glue, but kind of similar. But I know it's not Elmer's glue. You see how that piece sticks up right there? Right there? That's what I'm talking about with some of these things. I think you can sand that down a little bit, maybe. I'll have to check on that, though. So I think that's pretty good. Sorry if I'm getting my hands in the way of the camera. But, alright, I'm just going to let that dry. And if that dries with this little piece up, I'll just use the knife and trim it off. And then maybe redo it again or something with the glue. So we'll fix that somehow, but that's definitely an issue. So that's the biggest one so far. Alright, I'm just going to do this other one on the other side off camera, and then we'll come back in about 4 hours or so when those other ones have set up and dried. Okay, so we're back down here. It's actually been more than 24 hours, but I have a couple little things that I probably want to do to these seats. I just want to show you these real quick, and I'm going to have to adjust or trim down kind of like some of the edges of the tears that have kind of like cupped up a little bit or frayed or whatever. So here is one of the repair. So this one here, I put the backing on there, and I don't know if you can tell. Let's see here. You hear that? It's kind of like sticking up a little bit. So that edge is kind of like frayed up a little bit on either side here. And that's also similar to what happened here. I got a little bubble there. That little piece right there kind of like bubbles up a little bit. I hope you can see that on the camera. And then this one, I did not put a patch on here on the inside. I just did glue, and I wanted to do that as a test. And it seems like it's doing okay, but it does have kind of like the ridge a little bit is like lifted on these edges right here. They're kind of like, you know, cupped up a little bit. So if you're putting your hand across it, you could definitely feel like there's something going on there. It's not smooth. So I'm gonna so what I decided to do is, some of these are pretty big. I'm actually just kind of like shave down the edges a little bit with a razor blade, a sharp brand new razor blade. And then also you can sand this stuff. So I got some sandpaper, some 220, and then also just a little bit a 150 as well. So and I'll just like lightly sand this because there's hardly any texture to this. It's pretty smooth. So I think I can just shave that down, sand it so it's smoother, and then it'll be ready for the actual vinyl, the color. So I did buy another kit, and as I told you, I went through this entire first cup of adhesive, and then the majority of it, there's about, I don't know, a quarter left in here. So I went through 1 3/4 cups of adhesive on 1, 2, 3, 4, and I got a couple over here, that piece right there, and then those 2 pieces there, and those also got the ridges on there. So I'm gonna have to file those down with the razor blade. And then also on this piece here, this piece there, and sorry, I'm in the light, that piece there. So I mean, you know, there's quite a few tears on here that I've already repaired. These kits are like, I don't know, $10, $11. I just got it off of Amazon. I'm not sponsored or an affiliate at all. So far so good. I mean, you can go out and get, I guess, other glue for this stuff, but I wanted to stick with the kit itself because part of this video is to review the kit. So if I went out and I got somebody else's glue, that would kind of change things. So I'm going to go ahead and just off camera, you know, file down and sand down these little edges, and then come back and hopefully maybe we can put in a little bit more glue if necessary. You can do that, but hopefully on some of these we can actually start putting on some of the vinyl. Okay, so I tried both the razor blade and then also the sandpaper. The sandpaper, in my opinion, was a lot easier and worked pretty well. So here's that one pad right there, and you can kind of see right there, like where it's a little lighter. It just, that sandpaper kind of knocks off those high edges there, and it does a pretty good job. Just got to be careful because it might catch a little bit of that that backing, that canvas down there, and it has a little bit of threads popping through, but that's really nothing to be too concerned about. I'll take care of that. And here's that other part right there, and again you can kind of see like the light colored part right there. That sandpaper just kind of smoothed that out really good. And then here as well, I did nip that little part right there on purpose, that little bubble, and but I just sanded it down, and that's pretty darn good because we are going to be you know, filling this in and maybe feathering it out a little bit with the vinyl. So this is just the glue on there that's now we're going to be putting on this vinyl, and I'm going to try to mix it, the color, as close as possible. It's not really going to be that big of a deal anyway because I'm going to paint with spray paint, special vinyl spray paint, these seats anyway on top of it. So I'm not really concerned about trying to get the color match, but I know that some people aren't going to do the spray paint method as well. So I'm going to try to match it as close as possible to what's here, just because some people might just have a small little, you know, repair that they're trying to do. So I'm going to finish sanding these, and then we're going to come back and clean it real good, and then put on the actual vinyl and repair, see how that looks, try to color match it. Okay, so I went ahead and sanded down those areas, and they look pretty good. I'm gonna feather them out just a little bit. Some of them are just kind of bumped up from over time, but I think the sanding has been pretty acceptable so far. So far so good on that. And the kit comes with a bunch of different colors. So you got the blue, green, red, yellow, and brown. And then also, for our purposes, because this is a very light gray and then a darker shade of gray. I wouldn't call it really dark, but gray and then really light gray over here. I'm just going to start with some white, and then I decided just to use a toothpick because just a little bit of black in the white to go in the mixing cup probably is going to go a long way. So they give you this mixing cup. Okay, this is quite a bit thicker. This is much thicker than the glue. So you can definitely tell there's like a vinyl in there. And I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to start with a little bit more because I have a lot to use. And I have two kits. So I got twice the amount of white and twice the amount of gray. That can be used. Put on the cap. Now, I don't know how potent this black is, so I'm just going to put a little bit of black in there to start. And I'll mix it up. So I don't know how much is going to be needed, but this is a very light gray here. I mean, this could be too much. So I just want to start with a little bit. And get that mixed in there. You can already see it's kind of starting to turn gray already. So I get that in there. Gonna mix this up. That's pretty thick. So you can already see it's starting to turn, you know, darker, even with that teeny tiny amount in there. Let's get a little bit more. I'm using the other side of the toothpick. I mean, so you can see it's just a tiny bit. Toothpicks are cheap. We'll throw that puppy out. And by using those toothpicks, those are cheap. I'm not going to contaminate either the black or the master white. And the instructions don't say to do that, but I'm just doing it. So that's actually pretty good. You can get some of that on there. That's not bad. I mean, that could pass. So let me mix that up real good, and then we can apply it. Sorry, Gordon Ramsay. keep those straight. So let's go ahead and mix that up good. These credit cards, or the hotel key cards, they're stiffer than this little bendy thing. So that's why I'm using these here. And I just want to make sure I get all that in there. Real good, real nice. And as you can see, I think that looks pretty good. I don't know. We'll see. So let's get that on there. See how nice that spreads out? It's a little white. So the nice thing is that you can always come back and add a little bit of dark. So that's too white in my opinion. So I'm going to add just a little bit more dark. Got my new toothpick. Let's darken that up a little bit. And you know it's always going to dry a different color. It doesn't always seem that it's like that, you know? See how it's getting darker already? I hope that's not too dark now. And that's the game, isn't it? Too light, too dark. Too light, too dark. So let's take a look. Let's see how that spreads out. That's got a little bit more of a vein in there. Let me smush it around. And hopefully we can get, there we go. Is that better? It's better. So there is kind of a working time with this, so keep that in mind. I don't know. We can come back, still the rest of these in here. Watch, still got a working bit. That doesn't look too bad. You guys getting that?
You can definitely tell this has like vinyl in it. I'm getting rid of that one, and I'm picking up this one. Oh yeah, much smoother. Yeah, maybe we'll have to come back and touch that up a little bit. I don't know. I suppose you could just mix this stuff up like on an easel type of thing, you know? Like painters do. I don't think you have to have this cup. But I think it helps. It's a little messed up there. So let me put that down. Let me try to get this flatter. Okay. Okay. Okay, so I think that it's not bad as far as color. I mean, it's not that bad. And I went all over the place in terms of the fill. And maybe I shouldn't have done that. But I am going to paint the whole thing with the spray. So I'm glad I got the spray. So I'm going to heat this with the heat gun. And let's see if that changes the color any.
Okay, that's pretty warm. So you can use a heat gun, or you can use this little stamp, and then you put those pads on there and kind of rub it over there. But it's heat activated, so the heat gun will work fine. Okay, so we got that first one done. The color matching is okay. I mean, I kind of thought this was going to be like more the artistic part of it. So I'm sure with a lot of experience, the guys that are really good at this, or girls, can do a really good job. So, but for my purposes, I did want to try to do the color match, you know, a little bit without putting a ton of effort into it. But I'm gonna, like I said, paint over that anyway. So I'm not really too concerned about the color match. For my purposes, I just wanted to make sure that those rips were actually filled with the adhesive, with the backing, and then also with the vinyl top. So, and then later on we'll come and spray it. So I went ahead and I did the heat gun over it, and I'm going to let those sit, and I'm going to go ahead and do the other fill for all the rest of the cushions, and then let those dry and sit as well, and then we'll come back and take a look and see how it looks. Okay, so real quick, I just decided to use the kind of old painter's palette method. I'm spreading out and mixing the gray on these key cards. I got a giant stack of key cards that I just keep from, you know, when you travel and stuff for hotels, and those work great. So I just decided to do that, and I am at the end of the first little tube of white. They only give you one white. So I'm glad I got the second kit, and I don't know if this other tube of white or a little pail of white is going to last, or even on the second one. So I think I'm going to run short. So I might have to mix another color and then just spray paint it and see what happens. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll have to order yet another kit. So we'll see. Okay, I've done some more patches on these seats. And I had to go back and kind of touch up some of the other stuff because some of the edges were like cupping up. So what I decided to do, and I'll just use this one as an example, the edges were like really like cupping up, and it was becoming a problem. So what I did is I just cut a larger hole back to where there was like some pretty decent material, so that edge would like lay down flat, you know. And then I cut a pretty big patch underneath it from that little canvas, that extra canvas that I had, and glued it in there with the glue. So I'm actually on my second kit right now, and I have another kit on its way. And I have just a little bit, I would say half of the vinyl adhesive left on one cup. So I already went through 3.5 cups of the vinyl adhesive. I got half a cup of the white left. This is the actual vinyl. So I went through 1.5 cups of the white, and I got plenty of black, and I haven't even touched all the rest of the colors. So that's kind of one of the downsides to the kit, is that they don't give you enough of what you might need. But in all fairness, this is probably a kit for small little patches and stuff. So, okay, something else I've been doing is, you know, I have all these, you know, hotel key cards, old credit cards, whatever, that we just keep. These things are great, like I told you before. And instead of using this applicator that the kit comes with, and it's kind of like, you know, flimsy in my opinion, very easily to bend, and also it has a fat side down here and then kind of a skinnier side down here, but it flares out like this taper, and I don't like that, and it doesn't work as well. So what I did is, on one of these cards, I just sliced off the edge with the scissors, and I kind of made my own little applicator out of the card. And this is much stronger, so you get a little bit more rigidity in there, more strength. And the way that comes in handy is, for example, when you're doing these patches, what you got to do is you got to get this, you got to get the patch material separated from the underlying foam or whatever's in there, because you put the patch inside and underneath. So this patch actually goes to, let's say like right around there, like about an eighth or a half of an inch or something like that inside, all the way around. So you kind of got to like make a void all the way around the hole, and this really did a good job. And it's completely free, obviously, and it did a much better job. So this is a big hole right here, but I do have a smaller one. Let's see here. Okay, so like right here, that's pretty small. So if I had this big spatula thing, you could see that I have a difficult time getting in there to kind of like, create that little void in there. But with this smaller little one, it goes in a lot easier down in there. And I actually had a different one that was even smaller. So this one is a little bit thicker. But you can customize your, applicators to have, bigger or smaller pieces. So like I think this is the smaller one that I had for that. It's just the other side, you can make it a little bit thicker and a little bit smaller, whatever, for whatever your purpose is. So I really like using these. And then I was also using these to, mix up the material, the actual vinyl, to do the color match. I did not like doing the color match in the little jar here. It just, I don't know. It didn't work for me. I guess if you can do it on your own, that's fine. Whatever. That's just my personal taste. And then I was also using these toothpicks to kind of push that underlying canvas back in the hole a little bit, because it kind of bunches up from time to time. So those are a few tricks that I learned along the way. Hopefully that made sense. And we're going to put on some more vinyl. All right, thanks. Okay, I did want to show you real quick. This is that front piece of the boat, and I wanted to show you that I redid the crack here. I had just put in some glue, because this is kind of like flaking in here. So I put in some glue the first time, and I did not like that. And then I put like some of the vinyl on top of it. I did not like it, so I redid this, and this is going to be probably the biggest patch. That's pretty big. I mean, that's every bit of 3.5, 3 3/4 inch, and then a full inch, that way. And I redid that little piece right there. So just because those edges were, flaring out and everything, I did not like that, how it turned out. So I'm going to redo that with the vinyl as well. But that's the biggest patch that I've done, and I think it's probably pushing it to the limit for this kit. Fortunately, there is another, part of this will be basically covered like that with the other pad, because this is the side of the pad and not the top. This is the top here. So hopefully a lot of that will be covered anyway with the other pad, and that's probably the only part you'll see. But I'll try to make it look nice anyway. So I just wanted to point that out, and that's how it looks. Okay, so we are done, or at least I'm done, with the actual repair for the vinyl part of it. And I went ahead and I washed it and sanded it down, and I put a few coats of the spray, vinyl spray paint, so to speak, on the problem areas on these seats. And now I'm getting ready to spray the whole thing over. So for those of you that are kind of just following along, or maybe you got bored and you're skipped to this part, let me just kind of show you what I did. It's going to take this real quick. So there were some rips and stuff on these seats, and I repaired those with this 3M vinyl repair kit, and did that as best I could, but it wasn't exactly smooth. So I went over that and sanded those down, and I prepped the vinyl with this SEM soap prep, and this is basically used like a Scotch-Brite pad. You take it outside and you kind of like wipe it down with some water, or you could use actually just like a damp rag to wipe it off as well. And that kind of like scuffs up the actual vinyl on here, so it kind of like makes it a little bit less smooth and scuffs it up just a little bit. So from there, what you do is you apply this vinyl prep spray. And this is like more of a chemical kind of treatment. And what that does is that basically like softens your vinyl or your leather. In this case, again, if you haven't been following along, these are vinyl boat seats from my Mastercraft that I bought last October. So this is, so I've been working on repairing the stuff in my basement, and now it's a nice day out and I can get it in my garage and have like pretty good conditions. It's like 70 degrees, 72 degrees in Ohio. I'm inside in my garage. I got like, some blankets down on the ground to keep the dust down. And so now I'm gonna go over this. And I have 2 colors to spray. So I got for the light gray, it's this SEM, and it's a 25-193. It's pretty good in terms of like matching up the color. And then for the dark gray, it's the M25203. And that is actually pretty good. So I've already sprayed a few of the areas. So like for example, like right here is a repair, okay? I'll try to show like a before and after of what it looked like, because it's not like perfect. And a lot of that is just me. I've never done this before. So there are some like bumps. You can tell it's been repaired in a lot of the areas. But hopefully it'll hold up for a while, and maybe I can go over it and do some more to it, like next winter or something when I'm not using the boat. But anyhow, this area right here, I've actually sprayed that already, and you can kind of see, the color in there. So that color matches pretty good. So that's like the original color. And then, down over here, I've sprayed that a little bit just to kind of, come in and let it go over the repair a little bit. This area down here is another big patch. I mean, that patch was like, as long as my thumb basically in there. So you're not going to see the bottom of it. This part here, you'll only see like this little bit because of just the way that the it comes together. So, and then this was another patch like right in here. I think this one came out like probably the nicest. But again, I sprayed that spray paint here, and like this is the original color over here. Okay, so that's the color of the spray paint basically right there. I mean, it matches pretty good. So you can kind of see the difference here. I sprayed here already, and then like over here is a different color. A couple other areas here, that's not my best at all. And then just a little bit of a spray there. There's a little crack there. I put some glue and repaired that. There was another repair here. So there's a big, giant repair in that area. You can probably already see it, but that's sprayed in there. And I mean, it's okay, it's not perfect. So I think it's gonna satisfy. Maybe it'll get me through 1 or 2 more seasons. Here's another repair here. So anyway, so right now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna spray that kind of softener, the chemical softener on there. And then I'm actually going to start spraying the bulk of this. So my plan is that I'm just going to go ahead and spray the light gray first, and then I'll come back around and I'll tape off the light gray, and I'll spray the dark gray. So I don't really care right at this second if there's any like overspray on the dark, because that's going to get painted anyway. So here we go. Okay, so I went ahead and I sprayed all the surfaces with this SEM prep kit, and this will provide the like chemical bond. Probably like back in like high school chemistry, you have like those covalent bonds and stuff like that. This stuff is an actuator, and it says it will like soften the vinyl or the leather. But I think in actuality, what it's doing is, yes, it's quote unquote softening it, but like on a molecular level, it's creating more of an area so like the little teeny tiny chemicals in the paint can actually adhere better to the surface. So it's probably pretty common in just about everything, but that's what this does. So at first you had like the physical part of it, the mechanical scuffing with the soap and the Brillo pad, and now you got like the chemical part of it, and that's all just designed to make sure that it has a nice chemical bond, and then make sure that there's it's a nice clean surface, there's no oil or residue or what have you. So that's the plan on that, and I'm just going to wait just a little bit. It's still kind of wet, so I'm going to wait a little bit until that's had a chance to do its job, and then I'm going to actually start spraying. All right, I think this is sufficient tacky enough. I just put my finger on it and kind of has like a little, sticky to it. And you can actually see it's kind of working. I'm getting a little gunk on there. So I'm also just going to paint right over that Mastercraft symbol. And I know it's not vinyl, but like I said, I'm just hoping that this gets me through like first couple seasons or something like that, and we'll see how that goes. So here we go. Okay, so so far so good on this. I went ahead and I did one coat so far. I actually ordered 2 cans of the light gray, and I used about a half a can on that in the basement when I was kind of going over some of the actual areas of the patch. So that first can kind of has sputtered out. I got 1 full coat on all of this stuff with just the use of just a little bit of the second can. So, but it's looking pretty good so far. The instructions say to wait around 5 or 10 minutes, then come back and do a second coat on top of the first coat. But let's just take a look at it real quick. So, I mean, it's looking pretty good. I got like a little bit of a fuzz right there. I'll have to get that off. But I mean, big difference. Like that area right there, that was all like, you know, mildewy kind of. I don't know what I'm going to do with that Mastercraft symbol. Maybe I'll come back and, I don't know, do some dye on it or something. I was kind of hoping it would take paint a little bit better. So, but this is also looking pretty good. I mean, you know, look at that area right there. It has a nice color to it and a nice, you know, coat to it as well. Like it looks pretty nice. This is the area of the patch right there and some of the other areas. So it's not going to be like perfect, but I'm really happy with the SEM products. The 3M actual patch kit, I had to order 3 of those things. And I mean, I'm not going to go on and on about this, but you can go back and watch the other videos about the 3M patch kit. A little bit more difficult to use. You're definitely going to have some experience and practice with it. And I don't think that they give you like enough. You know, I had to order 3 kits to do the colors that I wanted here. I wish they would give you the option of maybe having, you know, to pick out your colors, because, you know, they give you these colors in here, which are like the vinyl, you know, and like I didn't touch any of the real colors other than the black and the white, and it was hardly any of the black because I was making, you know, gray. So I just mixed the black in with the gray, or with the white to make gray. So I'm hoping they come out with a better, maybe you can just buy it like a la carte. So if you have one little dinky tiny, you know, 1-inch gash that you're going to repair, that kit will be fine. You won't even use 90% of it, but it'll be fine. And for $10, it's fine. So, but for me, I mean, I had a lot of the same color, which was kind of difficult to mix and get in there and blend, which is why I'm so happy I have this SEM kit, because I don't really have to worry about being a perfectionist with the color match, because I got the spray paint that's going to go on top of it. So I did like the best I could just so it wouldn't like show through the SEM vinyl paint. So, but anyhow, it's looking pretty good on the first coat, I think. I mean, you can see how well it like coats. That's like the gray, the dark gray. And I think it looks pretty nice. There was one of the patches right there. There was another patch. That was big patch, 2 big patches all around there, big gash. And like a few little ones in there as well. Here, here, here. And then there was a few around the circumference there that you're not even going to see just because of the way the pads sit. And then here was one of the patches that I put in, and that was a big patch. Can you see it? Barely. That was the big deep hole. That was a 1/2 inch deep hole, completely punctured through right there. So so you can get nice results with this. You know, that was a big hole right there, and I patched that and sanded it down, and granted it was on like a nice flat area, which made it a little bit easier, but you can get nice results with this. Probably like with anything, you just got to take your time, but that turned out real nice. And then like look at the color. So I have some here's the other part of the boat. I mean, you tell me. That's a pretty close color match, you know, I think. So, and then here's the dark gray. I mean, that's pretty darn close. So that's obviously the engine color and then the seat. I have replacement vinyl for that. So, I mean, it's pretty close. So these pieces here are all on the bow portion. It's an open bow. So they were sufficiently far enough away from the rest of the boat that unless you were like a huge mastercraft, like aficionado or like an artist or something, you shouldn't be able to notice the subtle color change between the paint of these pads and the original part of the vinyl upholstery in the boat. I mean, especially like over the years of getting, you know, like water and mildew and, you know, UV, all that stuff. So, so I'm gonna go ahead and put on the second coat now, but right now it's looking pretty good. I'm happy with it so far. Okay, all is going pretty well. I am, it feels a little light, like it's got around 30 or 40% left in here. So this is the second can of the light gray. So I think I'll have enough for, you know, the final coat here. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put on another final coat, which will be the third coat of the light gray, and hopefully that will be good enough. I waited, like the instructions said, about 5 to 10 minutes in between coats. So, so here we go. Let's take a look and see what it looks like up close. I mean, look how nice that looks. Like, especially like on those edges there, that's really nice. That was one of the repairs, a big repair right there. That was the repair right there. That's one of the nicer ones that came out. And then, just look at that. It looks pretty good. Look how nice and smooth that is right there, you know? Little imperfections here and there, but hey, these things have been out in the weather for 21 years. This boat's a 2003, and this is the original vinyl to it. So I'm pretty happy with it. Look how nice that is. That's really nice, I think. Here's that huge repair over here. Big repair. Big, huge repair here, there. But overall, looking pretty good. I really like it. There's a repair right there. You can hardly even tell. And that hasn't even been painted yet. Okay, we got the front of the boat here. I already did the pads. And I got it masked off sufficiently. And I'm just trying to cover up these little dots here. So I went ahead and I did the same process. You know, I scrubbed it down with that SEM kind of scrubber stuff with a Brillo pad, and then I already coated it with some of the SEM kind of like softener, primer, I guess you might call it. It's a chemical softener for the vinyl. So we're outside. Unfortunately, I can't bring my boat inside. I don't have the facility for that. And it is a little windy, so in between the wind gusts, I'm going to try to get this thing sprayed without going over anything. So, so here we go. That wind is really coming in. It comes in gusts. Can you see that now? The leaves. So the strategy that I'm doing here is I'm really not trying to like fix anything. I'm just trying to get rid of those dots. Trying to like blend it in a little bit, you know. It's looking pretty good so far.
Oh, nice that blends in. That's a good color match. I got lucky when I picked that. And I didn't have to return, you know, one or the other. You see how I'm kind of like just trying to blend it in a little bit at a time. And it's hot out here, right in the sun too. Oh my God, that's much better. And a little bit up here, I gotta be careful. See that though? Look at that. I don't really even need to touch down there. It was just that kind of up front, you know? Okay, so we're gonna do the spray on the seat, the captain's seat, and then also on the engine cover here. So, but I just want to go over real quick. I did not use the 3M vinyl repair kit on this thing. What I did is I switched over and I used a different product, and it's a lot easier to use. This thing is called Angelus paintable repair filler, and again, I'm not sponsored by them or anything. I just found some other reviews that were good and got it off Amazon. I'll leave a link. So, but I wanted to just tell you that it's a lot easier to use. It has the consistency of kind of like lotion, I guess you might say, and it's a lot easier to spread and clean off and stuff like that. So I just want to go over, I did a few little repairs here, here, and here with that Angelis. Also did a teeny tiny one down there. You can barely see that. And I got the seat down flat because it's always nice to have it like lay as flat as you can, as opposed to like a vertical surface where there could be like a drip, right? So there's one right there, which was a little bit of a hole. I'll show a before and after on that. And then over here, there was this one here, that one, which I sanded down. That looks pretty good. And then a little dinky hole right here. I think this one I filled with just some of this kind of like foam. So, but, you know, watch the video. And then on the, I guess that would be like the part of the seat that goes underneath your knees. There was a little bit of a tear right there. So I did the repair on there as well. So I've been kind of coming out here every once in a while and, you know, just doing a little bit of work here and there, and putting that stuff on there, letting it dry, kind of sanding it down, you know, to make sure it's nice and smooth. It's coming out a lot better than the 3M vinyl repair stuff. I don't know if it's a better quality or whatever I'm just telling you like the aesthetic look of it so far. So I'm really happy with that. And then I also reupholstered the main seat, which is right there, and I stapled them in the back. I actually bought that staple gun last year, so I'm really happy to be using it. So, but take a look, like that was the original seat cover. So as you can see, you know, that was toast. I mean, look how brittle that was. So it had its day. But yeah, look how nice that that tone is. I mean, the match is pretty good. I mean, obviously this one's brand new, and we're gonna spray paint that. So I just wanted to let you know that I did go ahead and I could not salvage that piece. I went ahead and just completely repaired it. I do have a couple of other pieces that I could do, but I'm just gonna save those. I'm gonna spray paint this stuff with the SEM. I have enough product left. It seems to be doing a good job. So we're gonna spray paint like this kind of color here, all the way down and around the front of the cover, and then the whole seat that is like, you know, kind of like this color here. So not the black, not the dark gray, maybe the underneath, I don't know, we'll see. But I'm like really happy with the way that the boat turned out in the front part of the boat, the open bow, and then also the other seats that I did, which look really good. I'm really happy with like the color, and I've been kind of like coming out and kind of like poking them every once in a while just to make sure that they're not like brittle or something. and all is well. I don't know how they're going to last all summer or 2 summers or 3 summers from now. I just don't know, but we'll see. So that's what we're going to do. I already went ahead and cleaned the seat. I got to clean the engine cover with the SEM soap stuff, prep soap. I need to do that with a Brillo pad, sorry, SEM Brillo pad, and then you spray it after it's dried and stuff with this vinyl prep. And then again, if you didn't watch the other parts of the video, that kind of like softens the leather or vinyl. And then there's the actual color, the coat that's going to be, and then there's the color that the little seat part is right there. That's going underneath the underneath your knees. that looks pretty good. I mean, that looks almost like a brand new seat, you know, as far as I'm concerned. Couple little teeny tiny blemishes there, but really the only vinyl that I replaced was this this part right here. And I would imagine, because that's the driver's seat, that's probably, you know, you're getting on there with your wet swim trunks on and stuff like that, maybe kind of putting your knee on there so to take a look at the skiers and whatnot. So that thing takes quite a bit of wear, and that's what it looked like, you know, before. So quite a bit of difference on that. I mean, look at that grime. So yeah, it had quite a bit of wear. So I had that piece in the center, and I also have, you know, like I said, I got the center console, which is this part here. Let's just go ahead and take this off too. I think that's all done. Look how nice that looks. I'll do a showing when it's installed. But yeah, look at that. That looks really good. Got that down underneath. Look at that. Look how nice that looks. Sorry, I'm doing this with one hand here. And you know, I just kind of feathered those out a little bit. Sometimes you gotta take a small little strips to go around. Kind of neat, kind of looks like scales. But that's just that green frog tape. I like that green frog tape. A little bit nicer than, in my opinion, than like the blue tape, you know? Blue tape's fine. They're both, I guess, somewhat of an improvement on the regular old kind of vanilla masking tape. Look at that, man. That looks freaking great. So obviously this part up here is the part that was like repaired and sprayed. And then, you know, those parts there, that actually was a different color than that. So I did not spray that on purpose. The same as this right here. So you can kind of see on the seat, it's like a separate color there, you know. So yeah, so far so good. This is looking really good. I'm really happy with this. I really like that SEM stuff. The vinyl 3M repair kit, the actual vinyl part of it, a little bit more difficult to work with, but I think it has less shrinkage, less water in there, what have you. It's probably, I'm gonna say probably better, but don't sue me. I don't know. It's just my opinion, just some guy's opinion in his garage. And then that other product that was the filler, which is the Angelus. There's probably a trick to working with that as well. You probably have to like mound it, but I think that has more water content in it. It's more like lotion than actual, like, you know, vinyl. So I think like the 3M probably has more petrochemicals in there, whereas that other stuff, that Argus filler, is more, I don't know, like a putty or whatever, but it has more water in it, I think. It feels more like lotion. A lot easier to work with, but it's got more shrinkage. So you gotta do like a kind of a mound so it just like settles and shrinks. So let's take the rest of that off. That's pretty nice. It's doing a good job. Nice crisp line. Of course, I tucked that tape kind of underneath there a little bit. That's a real nice crisp line on that. And then the same with this. I gotta use two hands, hold on. I started from the other side. Hopefully it won't tear
down there. I'm trying to take it off at an angle. Sometimes if you pull it, you know, straight up or whatever, it'll rip. But sometimes if you pull it at like kind of a backwards angle to the tape, you get a little bit more of the tape itself, a little bit more meat. Oh, good, perfect. It worked. See that? A little tight down in there. Oh, look at that. Look at that.
I just love that feeling, man. It's just so satisfying when shit like that happens. Sorry, I'm gonna bleep that. But yeah, take a look. Heck yeah, man. You can hardly see the repair. There was one little dinky repair right there. You can barely see it. The other one, which I put that foam in, right there. So I did a pretty good job. Another little nick there or there, I think. And then the other little nick was right there. So I'm gonna back out. I mean, you can barely see that, man. So, and then over here on this seat, looking really good too. There were some dots up here, remember? I put that filler in there. You can barely see the little dot. I mean, it looks like just a remnant from like a chicken pox when you had it 40 years ago. Tiny little thing, man. And all the way around, all nice. Over there was one little extra fix right over there. So I think that there were a few other fixes on here, but man, look how nice that looks. Oh, the gray part. Like, look how nice that gray turned out. Or was it on this side? It might have been over here. So, but I sprayed that as well with the dark gray, and the colors look great. This is really, really nice. I'm super happy with that. Of course, I got to put that piece and then the other pieces over there back on the boat, but that's just installation. This part is good. I'm super happy with that, and I got all that fixed back in there. These little armatures here, those were, you know, all just kind of flaking off. The paint was flaking off on there and stuff, so I like scraped that off and I let it soak in CLR, which is calcium lime and rust remover. Just let it soak in there overnight, moved on to a different project, came back the next day, kind of brushed it off, let it dry, and painted it. And look how nice that looks. So yeah, super happy, man. Super, super happy. So let's move on. We're going to be moving on to definitely putting all the stereo stuff in and the floor as well. So stay tuned. Appreciate you guys following me. I absolutely love doing this kind of stuff. I love working with my hands and doing something productive. And I love saving stuff rather than just tossing it out. So I don't know if you guys do as well. It's the love of the boat and all that stuff as well. And we're going to have a great time on the summer with the boat. But the project itself is like, I just get like so much like fun out of it. It's like, I don't know, personal expression. I hope that makes sense. So, so let's go finish some other stuff up on the boat.